Our next guest is appearing at the MGM Grand Hotel and has come to see us between shows. And this is really a chore for these people. They work very, very hard. I know because I've done it. Happily, I don't have to do that anymore. How about a wonderful round of applause for a great singer, Mr. Andy Williams.
Where were you last show? We could have used you.
You lost a whole person since I last saw you.
A little weight, yeah.
How much, Andy?
Well, I don't know, 15 pounds, something like that.
You were getting just a little comfortable looking. I'm not fat. I'm not saying, but what made
you have lovely lipstick.
I know. Wow, boy.
It's a nice color on you.
You should see what goes with those.
I mean, the high heels.
How did you... And all those crazy frills and things. How did you lose the weight? Everybody wants to know.
I went to a Pritikin Longevity Center in Santa Monica, California. And I went just because I was celebrating Christmas and New Year's into February and March. And I don't know, I was just having too good a time, and I gained about 15 pounds, which on me is quite a bit. So I decided to go there because I wasn't feeling too good either. I don't know what was the matter. Probably just drinking and eating too much and having a good time. So I went on this Pritikin program, which is a combination diet and exercise. And in a month...
What does the exercise consist of? Give me an idea.
It has to be aerobic exercise of any kind.
Kind to music, huh?
Well, it doesn't have to be music, but it's as long as it keeps your heartbeat going a little faster than it normally does. It can be skipping rope, it can be running, it can be walking, it can be anything that gets your heart going.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it at that level, that heart...
That got my heart going.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, just she planted around me and...
Oh, I thought you meant just wearing it.
No. But why do they want to... I don't understand why the exercise, why they want your heart to beat so fast.
Because when you lose weight, you'd lose the muscle tone, too, if you didn't exercise. And it's part of the whole program. Pritikin started this program, I don't know how many years ago, 15, 20 years ago, when the doctor told him that he might as well go home because he was going to die of heart disease. And then he's not a doctor, but he studied where there was the least heart disease, what country. And the least heart disease, in fact, there was no heart disease like in the third world countries. In the poor countries, there was no heart disease at all. People, they didn't have the money to have meat. They didn't eat meat. They ate poultry, they ate fish, and they ate whatever vegetation there was on the land, and there was absolutely no heart disease of any kind.
Are you off of red meat now, too?
Yeah.
And is it dull, Andy? Is it boring? Tell it to
No,
me.
it isn't. I mean, I don't think red meat is exciting anyway.
Yeah. Can you have schnapps with this diet, this Pritikin diet?
No, but I do.
I want to ask you something. You started here when you were a boy with your brothers.
I was 10.
With Kate Thompson, remember that? Where was that, Andy?
It was the first place we worked was the El Rancho, and that was August 6, 1947. And I can't tell you how different Las Vegas is now.
How many places were there then?
There were only 4 hotels.
The El Rancho, the Frontier, Last Frontier.
The Last Frontier was the first one. El Rancho was the second. I think the next one was the Desert Inn.
Desert Inn?
I think. And the Flamingo had just been built by Bugsy Siegel 1 year before we opened there. And it's completely different now. Now it's a big city. It's a convention city. Then everybody went to see everybody else in the lounge.
Yeah.
You'd go between shows. There was no traffic. You could go over and have dinner in any one of the hotels and see all the other performers in town. Every hotel had a lounge with Harry James Band in it, Count Basie's band, that kind of thing.
That's wonderful.
And you just go and hang out and have a good time with other performers that were in town.
Yeah.
Now it's so difficult to get anywhere. The traffic is bad. Yeah. You find that I think most performers end up, because they don't want to go out in the bar in the hotel, because they don't have really much privacy in doing that, you end up staying in your dressing rooms. The dressing rooms are so beautifully done anyway, and they're large. They're not what most people think a dressing room is like. or what most dressing rooms are like on the road, are just
a
little
nail in
teeny,
the wall.
Yeah. But here they're very lavish, and they have television and cable and all that stuff.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. These are my cable people here. They keep reminding me it's cable. I want to ask you about your children, and because you and your wife, Claudine, are both so musical. Are the children musical, Andy?
Well, Claudine really wasn't musical.
Well, she sang very well in tune, though.
She sang beautifully, but that was just by accident.
Really?
I mean, she wasn't. She was on a Run for Your Life television show. She was playing the lead, and they needed her to sing. So she sang a Jobim song and played the guitar, and the switchboards literally lit up. I mean, it broke down the switchboards at NBC. They couldn't take all the calls, so I called Herb Alpert, who's a friend of ours, and I told him what had happened. He said, well, let me see the film. So put the film together so that he could see her sing this thing, and he said, I'd like to record it. So she made an album. It sold, I don't know, she got a gold album first time out. And that was the beginning of her singing career, but she really wasn't a singer.
But how about your youngsters? Are they?
No, they don't sing. I mean, on my Christmas shows in the past, they have sung from time to time, but they really, I think that if you're not making a living by the time you're 12, just forget it.
Easy for you to say.
Well, I mean, most people that I know start singing when they're very young.
That's right.
And they went through a slight phase of I want to play drums and I want to play guitar and I want to sing, but never stuck with it. So
are they impressed with who their dad is? And are they at an age now where they really appreciate what you do?
Well, I'll tell you a story. This is a true story. My little boy would come and see me in San Diego at a golf tournament, or he would come and see me in Las Vegas. And he was always very proud that people were asking me for my autograph. So he came one time. He was about 8 years old, and he came to the San Diego. His name is Bobby. He came to the San Diego Open that I have every year, and I wanted to take him to the zoo because the San Diego Zoo is one of the great zoos in the world.
Indeed, it is.
But I wanted to be able to go with him and not be bothered with signing autographs all the time. So I put on some dark glasses, and I wore a cap, and I had a raincoat on, and we were standing looking at these flamingos, and he's looking around very proud, and nobody's asking me for my autograph. And I didn't realize it, but it's really bothering him that nobody is asking me. So there's a guy standing right next to me, and he leaned over and he said, hey, that's Andy Williams.
Isn't that wonderful?
I said, shut up.
I got to ask you quickly, how did you find the Osmonds?
My father, did you see that special that the Osmonds did, or that?
Oh, yeah.
That Marie did.
Yeah, Marie did with
called
Joseph
Side by
Bottom,
Side.
yes.
Well, that's exactly the way it happened. My father was watching television one Saturday, and they were on an amateur show from Disneyland. And he called me and said, you know, these boys are exactly the same ages that you and your brothers were when you started singing. And
that had a bearing on it. The fact that they were reminded you of you.
That's the only reason, really. And he said, I think it would be a good idea if you had them on the show, and you can compare the fact that you and your brother started when you were 8 years old, and Jay is about 8 years old, and the older brother is 18 at that time. So we had them on the show and figured that was going to be it, but there was so much mail on them. I mean, thousands of letters. Mm-hmm. Because Jay, who was missing a tooth in front, for some reason he used to follow the cameras. If this camera over here went on, he would
look at that light.
There, you know.
Yeah, with the tally light.
He would look over there and he'd smile, and these two teeth were out in front. And then the minute that light would go off and he'd go over here, he would see that and he'd come around and he'd smile again. So the people, I mean, this was really funny, and I don't think anybody told him to do that. But he did it, and it really was funny. And I think that's the reason they got all the mail. So I had them back on the show. And they came back 2 or 3 times, and they were on the show for about 7 years.
They're wonderful.
Sort of the way I started with Steve Allen. I went on the Steve Allen Tonight Show for 2 weeks, and nobody said, don't come back. So I came back the third week, and I stayed for 2.5 years.
That's wonderful. What a career, and I hope you do this show again sometime soon. I'd like to continue this discussion. And I have to get you back to the MGM for your second...
Well, no, I've got to get me to a restaurant first.
Oh, you have to eat first?
Before I faint.
We'll take care of that. Okay, this is Andy Williams, and we're coming right back with Norm Crosby. Thank you, Andy.